Hello, this is wmpyr here with a response video to OG Fitness. He made a really good video talking about self-offense rather than self-defense. So please check out the video, please check out his channel. Okay, so I just here to add my 2 cents to the idea there. And okay, where shall we start? Self-offense, I think, is something that I've been hearing a lot fairly recently within the last couple of years. And probably the reason is because a lot of people are finding out that self-defense stuff that they've been taught, it just doesn't work. And the biggest problem why it doesn't work is because, well, that it's defensive. You're waiting for the other guy to attack. So that puts you automatically one step behind. And if you're a step behind, what do you do to make up for that? And unless you don't have anything good to make up for that difference, to make up for you falling behind there, that's not very realistic. And it's hard to do in a real life situation when things are going really bad. How do you make up? You're starting from behind and you're supposed to somehow come out on top. That's asking for a lot. And the techniques being taught, chances are a lot of times they're counter techniques. And anyone who's done full contact knows that counter techniques, they're great if you could do it, because think about it, your opponent is they're trying to attack you. So right when they're attacking you, all of a sudden they don't get that attack, and they're the ones suddenly being attacked. So if you could pull it off, it's great. It's ideal probably, but the percentage is low, and it's very hard, very difficult to pull off. You know, you're setting a trap essentially, and they have to fall into that very specific trap. So once again, it's very very hard. So for a lot of those reasons, it makes sense that a lot of people feel that self-defense, that stuff just simply doesn't work. Now, I don't think that it's the material that's bad. I think that the people that are teaching self-defense techniques, these instructors, either they don't know or they've miscommunicated. And so I don't think it's the style that's bad. I don't think it's the technique that's bad, but what I do feel like the problem is they're teaching scholastic material and mistaking it for performance material. So scholastic material is like drills and exercises that are there for you to study. You study for a long time and you develop that way, versus something that is performance. It means you're going to use it now, you know. It's combat application right now. So that's the difference right there. So this could be something like, let's say in boxing, the study is like being able to have a good base and balance while doing the footwork and moving, while you're constantly keeping yourself in good body posture to throw punches and to defend and block while moving around at the same time. Now that's something that it's going to take a long time for you to study and work on, versus a tactic like where they teach you, hey, look, I don't care if it's ugly or what, just grab the guy, clinch the guy. So you go in and just grab the guy, and then from there, when you break off, land a punch. So right when you break off from the clinch, you're going to take that advantage and throw a hook. So you're just working on the clinch and the hook, you know? So that's something that's more immediate combat applicable, you know? I could probably tell that to a guy who's about to get into a street fight, and then just like, I don't know, 5 minutes with the guy before he's like, I've never been in a fight before, what do you recommend? And I tell him that, like, dude, just grab a hold of him, just grab him, and then when you're about to break loose of the guy, or he's about to break free, throw that hook, aim for his chin. You know, that's something I could probably teach a guy, like, you know, within a couple of minutes right there. Not saying he's going to do it good, but it's more combat applicable than telling him, hey, dude, this is the footwork, you know, and use this footwork to keep your base and your balance so that you can strike and stay in good posture. You know, dude, that's just the body mechanics stuff is a lot harder. So, you know, that's the difference between the scholastic stuff versus the performance stuff. You know, so anyway, one thing that I'd like to imagine here in a self defense situation is that, let's imagine, and this is what the great Mario Sperry has said in his instructional videos, which was, he said that you always have to imagine that your opponent is as good as you are, if not better. So imagine the opponent to be bigger, stronger, badder, and meaner. So if that's the case, you know, if I attack first preemptively, can I take him out? And you know, if it's a guy my size, maybe I can, you know, but if the guy is a lot meaner, stronger, badder, then, and I've been in these situations where I look at the guy and I go, you know what, I could just hit him right now, and I think it's just going to make him more angry. You know, so that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in a situation like that. So in a situation like that where I feel like my attack isn't going to do anything, right? Then we have to go to defense. We have to go to self-defense, you know? So in this kind of, and for me, with someone who, you know, I come from a weapons art, a weapon-based art. I need justifiable evidence. I need justifiable, you know, just cause to use the weapon. So if I attack first, that's going to be very difficult for me to defend myself in court. So I definitely looking for the self-defense aspect. So yes, I am going to give them the first attack. So I need to protect, and then from there try to get out to a better situation. The world's, you know, greatest kickboxers with amazing reflexes, amazing athleticism, those guys, even those guys in medium range, resort to this for defense. You know, they just block like that. Because if you don't, and sometimes they don't, and they try to freaking, you know, use their reflexes and use their experience and skill and ability to see and try to counterpunch and whatever, they are risking a lot by doing that. Every time they do that, no matter how good they are and how many times they've been able to get away with it, it doesn't change the fact that anytime you do that in medium range, you are severely taking some big risks, big chances with getting knocked out at any moment. So that's something that I wouldn't do. I would definitely try to, because sometimes you end up in a certain distance and you know it's bad, but you're trapped there for whatever reason. Believe it or not, it can happen. I remember thinking to myself, this is not a good place to be. And I remember thinking to myself, man, this guy is being very hostile. I wish I could just fight him in the cage, and that way, afterwards, he may or may not give me respect, but I know I can give him a good fight. So I wish I could just do it in the cage. But out here in the street, it's not that, it's different. So it was like, oh man, this is not cool. And I remember thinking, I'm just way too close to the guy. If this guy attacks me, as athletic as, like, it's not that he was super huge, but he was pretty much like imagine a Crazy Horse Charles Bennett. Look up that guy if you don't know him. This is the guy that I was in a situation with. This guy was bullying this guy I knew, so I intervened, and then now he directed all his anger towards me, and that's what I was facing. And I was like, man, I would fight you in the cage, but out here in the street with this guy's level of athleticism, his strength, his speed, I was like, this guy could knock me out in a heartbeat. You know, I mean, we were in medium range. He could just pop, and I'd be knocked out. So I was like, man, I don't want to be here. That was the thing. I you know, on the street, I knew I was at a very, very bad position there. So that to me is where it's interesting. That's where self-defense has to kick in. Absolutely, it has to kick in. So at that point right there, it is for me 100% defense, covering up, and then trying to get to a better position. And then the attacks that I use are designed to augment that. So it's not that I'm trying to knock out the opponent. It's all of my attacks are lesser attacks, and they are lesser attacks to help designed to help keep the distance, to manage the distance. As Henry Gracie, I saw him say this, and it's I knew about distancing and how important, that's been since like the early 90s when I started martial arts and Aikido. They talk about Mai, which is the distance, especially with Kenjutsu, which is the sword fighting. They talk about the word is famous over in Japan. Everybody knows that word, whether you're a martial artist or not. And so that concept is not new to me, but Henry Gracie said in one of his videos, talked about the importance of distance managing, and the way he said it was just so simple that it's very, very easy to understand, is that, if you don't manage the distance properly, you're going to end up in a place where you're going to be taking the full shot. So either you get it so close that they can't do a really good shot to you, or you're too far away and out of range, out of reach. So that's the idea right there. And 100% with the Filipino martial arts, 4 ranges of combat, it's the same idea, but we're using tools to back that up, and that's where the defang the snake stuff comes in. So we're defanging the snake to help us do that. These are lesser attacks so that I'm not committing myself. If I already have the range, why would I do a powerful attack and make myself get even closer? That's contradictory to, wait a minute, I thought I wanted to keep the distance. And then also same with, if I am in the clinch with the opponent and they're trying to headbutt me, elbow me, these really huge attacks, grab me and knee me in the balls or something like that, and I'm just basically trying to hold them and tie them up, right? That my attacks, once again, are going to be much less committed and working more on distracting, getting them off balance so that they cannot launch a full-blown attack to me. It's to disrupt that and work with my concepts, work with my strategy, not to go against. So I'm using, once again, lesser attacks. I'm not trying to trade who has the better elbow shot, who has the better headbutt. Why would I do that with someone that's a bigger, stronger, meaner guy? It doesn't make sense. So anyway, that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and take care, folks.